All right, Kiera Elise. Girl, you got to tell us everything. Like, you better not hold one damn thing back. I mean, I need to know everything there is about Usman, aka Soja Boy. I mean,
I'm going to do my best. We have to remember that a lot of this information came to me from him, so who knows how true it is.
all right, you've blown up the internet in the past 2 months because if people aren't aware, and most people are because they're Uber 90-day fans before the 90 days, 90-day happily ever after. But Usman, aka Soulja Boy, the singer from Nigeria, has been with two 90-day women. We thought you were going to be the third because I want to find out if that rumor was true, that you guys were reportedly filming with TLC. But Kiera Elise was the most recent public girlfriend of Soulja Boy. We obviously know Kimberly. You know, she's been on this podcast, and Lisa Baby Girl. I mean, that ended in so much drama, her being fired, you know, for racist comments and everything else, their toxic relationship. But all right, talk to us, girl. Let's go back. How did you even meet Soulja Boy?
Instagram.
That's what I'd read. I read that you slid in his DMs. Is that true?
Yeah, I responded to he posted something after his divorce was announced. And so I was responding to the story and was like, oh, back on the market. And it was just a comment that I made. And I honestly, pretty sure I was trying to send it to my friend because she was a big 90-dayer. And I was like, oh, look, it's official, back on the market. And then he ended up responding to me. And I was just like, oh, that's so funny. Of course he responded. He was like, why are you asking if I'm back on the market if you're married? And I was like, I'm not married, which is his way of finding out if you're married. So
good line, actually. Good line. Okay. So you two start talking. And by the way, what's the timeline for this? Because we saw you guys go public pretty quickly. And then a month later, everything seemed to be over. So when did you initially slide in his DMs and you guys start talking?
This was December 2020.
Okay. So this is December 2020. All right. Gotcha. And then how quickly after that did you guys start dating?
So we were talking and he was very adamant about wanting to be in a relationship and everything. And so we continued talking. And at that point he had just signed his contract to film the following season.
So he was going to be on 90 Day. Now, wait, there's a bazillion franchises. Was he going to be 90 Day Happily Ever After, 90 Days Before the 90 Days? What?
Before the 90s.
Okay, so before the 90s, he had signed his deal to do that. Okay, got it.
With his ex before me.
Okay, so Kimberly, they were going to supposedly come back.
Yeah, so we had been talking whatever, and then he told me that okay, I actually am under contract to do it again because he was supposed to do it with Zara, but they said no to Zara.
Interesting. Okay. And why did they say no to Zara? Did he give you those details?
He didn't. He didn't tell me why. He said that he thought it was because she was young and whatever. So it wasn't the storyline that was going for him.
Which Zara, by the way, for people who need a refresh on the last season of Before the 90 Days, basically was this woman that he wrote a song to and didn't disclose it to Kimberly, and was hot and heavy with, and had done, I think, a FaceTime or a call. So we heard her voice, but we'd never seen her on the show. So we were, okay. So they were going to film with her, but no. So they were going to film with Kimberly. Okay. So, I mean, was he telling you that he was single, but he was going to do the show? Or was he saying, okay, so he was saying that they were going to do the show.
Yep.
Maybe their relationship.
I have receipts.
Well, show up. Let's see. Yeah.
I will be happy to show you. But I'm I gotta find them because there's just so dang many of them. Because as I was going through to prepare for this, I was like, oh my gosh, you have to go through this long of information, and then you start seeing stuff and you're just oh my God, I'm so stupid. You know what I mean? You just reread stuff and you're like, wow, okay. But yeah.
Well, look, I mean, he's hot. He's a charmer. And
he's charming.
I don't know, to his credit, I guess, and I'd be curious if you give him credit, but I guess he was kind of saying to you, look, I'm not in a relationship with Kimberly, but I'm going to be appearing as though I am in one, or figuring out if there's any potential. So, I mean, did you feel at first he was pretty open with you?
Yeah, I thought he was just okay, listen, the show's he kept telling me the show is a show, the show is business, it is what it is, it's no big deal. you know, like I already made it known that I wasn't going to be with another older woman like that. So we're doing this show and like, whatever, like we're not going to like end up in a relationship from it, is like what he was telling me at that point. Like he was already under contract. I was like, okay, business is business. I understand. I'm a business owner. I get it. You got to do what you got to do. Like no qualms from my part, you know?
Okay. And so from December until like July, basically, right? This whole time, this 6 months of you knowing him. I mean, it seems like the show, he makes it sound like the show has been very lucrative for him. Do you think that's true?
I mean, maybe I think it's made him money from being on the show, but I don't know that it's nearly as lucrative as he claims.
Okay. Got it. So,
but yeah, I mean, like he would like be calling me from set. I mean, like this is a video of him. I won't put the sound on, but they will flash over to the producers. This is in Tanzania. Like he's calling me every day. The producers would FaceTime with me. People saw me. People knew that I existed.
So were they getting ready then to put you on as a storyline? Like basically, were they getting ready to set Usman up?
No.
Okay,
Nobody ever like, cause I spoke, like he would FaceTime me when he was getting ready. Like, so we would like talk. So I'm like 100% thinking like, okay, this is really just for the show. Like he told me like she and he had discussed it, that it was like literally just because, you know, she was a big fan and like, that's who they would accept for him to film with, etc. Like that's a story that I was being fed.
And during this time, did you feel like you guys were developing what you thought was a real relationship?
Yes. Absolutely. Otherwise, I mean, I wouldn't have like kept it going. I mean, it would have been a really bad investment on my part after this long.
Okay. So you live in New Jersey at this time. He's in Nigeria filming. You guys are you talking and FaceTiming and texting like every day?
Every day, multiple times a day.
So we saw photos of you guys in London. So when did you decide like, all right, let's see each other in person?
So we had actually tried 3 times prior to London. So I had spine surgery in April of 21, and we filed for him to come over to the US so that he could be here while I was in recovery, which got denied. So him saying that he's said that nobody's ever applied for a visa or he's never applied for a visa to the US, it's false. That's definitely false. So we applied for that one got denied. We attempted to go to Barbados one time, but his transit visa was not approved. And then he was supposed to meet me in Egypt when I was in Egypt this past winter in March. Might have even been before then. And his visa didn't come through in time. So he ended up in Egypt. Like you'll see our social medias are kind of like congruently like behind each other by like a couple of weeks because he had already paid for his trip, but he was just waiting for his visa to come in. And I was already booked and going, and he was supposed to be meeting me there. So like by the time I was leaving, like his visa came in. So he ended up going after.
Okay. So you guys end up finally connecting in person. How many months after you had started talking?
It was years.
It was years. Okay. Okay. So, right. I'm kind of a dummy here. I'm just putting.
No, it's okay.
I'm like, wait a minute. She said 2020. We're in 2023. I know
what year even is it?
Okay. So you're talking 20. All right. Now it's all making sense. You guys actually started meeting and talking in 2020. Then the Happily Ever After with Kimberly comes out. He was filming that show.
Well, I guess they did like before the 90 and then they did the Happily Ever After as like after that.
That's right. Okay. Okay. So you're simultaneously, were you guys ever in a relationship? You didn't see him for a year in person. Were you guys just talking as friends every day? Or did you have the relationship like we are in a relationship, but you're going to be filming this show?
It was that like he wanted to like be in a relationship, but he was going to be filming the show for business.
Okay. So at some point between 2020 and 2021, you assumed you guys were boyfriend and girlfriend, even though he's on this reality show and doing press and
right.
doing.
He didn't want me like dating other people. Like he did not want me like seeing other people. Like that was like not.
Oh, damn.
But
okay.
like, so, but at one point during that, like during the filming and everything, I ended up ending things with him the first time. So there was like a space in between where we were not together.
Okay. So a year after you start talking, you meet in person where for the very first time?
No, we didn't. We didn't meet in person until London.
until London, which when was London this past year?
London was June.
Okay, June of 2023. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have been talking to Soulja Boy for 2 years. In that time, at some point, you cut it off. You were like, I'm good. Why did you cut it off?
He was like very pushy about a lot of things and like very, like kind of demanding. He didn't like that I traveled solo. He didn't like that, like, you know, that I would travel with like men friends, or that I had, you know, he was like very